I really love your state. I love the beauty of your state, your marshlands, your coastline. Also love your history. As a little boy, my imagination was captured by the stories of Swamp Fox, Francis Marion. And I have walked the ramparts with my own sons, the ramparts there at Fort Moultrie. And I also happen to be the proud father of a College of Charleston junior named Tara. And I'll tell you, she loves your state, and she loves Charleston, and it's no wonder. What a beautiful, what a great city, what a beautiful place. And I'm a big fan of your mayor, the great Joe Riley. Now, I served with Mayor Riley in the U.S. Conference of Mayors when I was mayor of Baltimore, and we all looked up to Mayor Riley. You know, we have a saying in the U.S. Conference of Mayors: once a mayor, always a mayor. In Joe Riley's case, we could shorten that to just always a mayor. Usually they get tired of us mere mortals in just 7 years. My goodness, he's headed towards 40 years of great and forward-moving leadership for the people of Charleston. One of the great things I loved about being mayor is that you bring people together and you accomplish important things. And you don't have the luxury of ideology. I mean, there is no Democratic or Republican way to reduce crime or to fix a pothole or to make sure that the streets are clean and kids can play in the parks. You have to bring people together to do the things that work, that actually make progress. And that's exactly the type of pragmatic, problem-solving leadership that my dear friend and your former governor, Jim Hodges, brought to your governor's office. In fact, we are the beneficiary of a man named Gary Maynard, who worked as, I believe, your head of corrections and is doing an outstanding job in Maryland. It's all about doing the job. It's not about ideology, it's about getting things done. And that's the type of leadership that you're soon going to send to the United States Congress with Elizabeth Colbert Bush. And I know that, I mean, even as I depart South Carolina, I know Tara O'Malley will still be there, volunteering as she did during the primary. So look, greetings from Maryland. As two of the original 13 states, there really is so much that unites us in South Carolina and also in Maryland. Importantly, in both of our states, we believe in progress, don't we? And at our core, we are what one might call pro-growth Americans in South Carolina and in Maryland. What do I mean by that? I mean that we believe in growing jobs and we believe in growing opportunity. We believe in children growing healthy, growing educated, and growing strong. And we believe in grandparents growing old with dignity and with security and with love. And we believe in growing prosperity and greater opportunity for every generation. That's what we're about. That's what we do as Americans. So I wanted to talk with you just a little bit today, and I thank you for the invitation. I wanted to talk to you about the better choices that we need to make together if we expect to bring about better results. Because progress, make no mistake about it, progress is a choice. Job creation is a choice. Whether we give our kids a future with more opportunity or a future with less opportunity, these are choices. These are the things that we freely choose to do or not to do. In these challenging times, and I think you've seen it up front and close, there is a clear contrast emerging between leadership that actually works and ideology that doesn't. Giving our children a better future isn't about whether we move to the left or whether we move to the right. It's about whether we move forward or whether we slip back. And the test of forward is whether or not the choices and the actions we're taking together are working. Are the actions we're taking together actually creating jobs and expanding opportunity or not? Is it working? That's the test. And it's the ultimate test for any governor, I'd submit to you, for any mayor, for any elected servant. Spare me your ideology. Explain to me how your decisions and your choices and your actions are working for me and my family. In other words, show us how it's working for all of us and all of our families, because we all do better when we're all doing better. Now, some of these new Tea Party Republican governors are funny in this regard, aren't they? You know, they run saying that government isn't working, and then when they're in office, their own failure to do the job proves their point. Your current governor, bless her heart, is a case in point. Creating jobs at the Port of Savannah instead of creating jobs here at the Port of Charleston. Failing to take basic cybersecurity precautions to protect 3.6 million Social Security numbers, and then waiting nearly 2 weeks to tell hundreds of thousands of South Carolinians that their credit card data had been hacked and stolen. How's all that working for South Carolina? Because facts are facts. At 8.7%, South Carolina, for all her strength, sadly has one of America's highest rates of unemployment. And the Tea Party still isn't hiring. Fact, under Governor Haley, sadly South Carolina graduates a lower percentage of high school students than 47 other states. How much less education did the children of South Carolina need to succeed, Governor? Fact, South Carolina's public colleges and universities have the highest tuition and the lowest state support of any state in the South. Tuition has been jacked up 45% since 2006. Now, if that works for you and your family, if you think that college is something that only rich families should be able to afford, then perhaps you want to stick with Governor Haley and her ideology of less. If you believe that every hardworking kid in South Carolina deserves a fair shot at the opportunity to go to college, then you want to work hard to elect a new governor like Vincent Shaheen. And it's not just what your current governor is failing to do, it's actually where she chooses to allocate her energies. It's not just what she fails to do, it's what she chooses to do. I understand nearly 217,000 South Carolina voters do not have a photo ID. And most of them are poor or elderly or both. And in spite of this, or more likely because of this, Governor Haley signed a voter suppression law that requires a photo ID in order to vote. Now, how does that work for South Carolina? How does that attack the unemployment rate? How does that expand opportunity? How does that help to reinforce that fabric of our democracy, that heart of our democracy that says that every single person is important and their voice and vote matters? Final point. Final point on this score. 1 in 5 of your fellow South Carolinians, I understand, do not have health care. In fact, there are only 3 states that have higher numbers of their citizens that have no health care. Republican governors in states like Florida, Ohio, even New Jersey have read the writing on the wall. They've dropped their opposition to accepting federal health care resources, but not Governor Haley. Once again, ideology trumps practical reality. And now if that approach works for you, if you believe it's more important to poke the president in the eye than it is to protect the health and of your workforce, and maybe you should stick with her. If you believe that poking the president in the eye is more important than the fiscal solvency of your hospitals and all the jobs that those hospitals support, then perhaps you want to stick with Governor Haley. But if you believe South Carolina deserves better, I hope you'll come together to elect someone like Vincent Shaheen that picks the right way. So look, you have important races coming up, and that's why I'm here. And we need practical leaders. We need leaders that do things that work in order to get to move forward. But all of this involves reinforcing those habits of the heart that allow us to talk to one another. And frankly, there's been a lot of damage done to those connections in these years of polarization. So I want to encourage you, as you come together as a people to make these important choices, I'd like to challenge you to engage with your neighbors, especially those that might not be inclined to vote our way. And as you search for their good intentions, let's ask one another, without any anger or meanness or fear, how much less do you really think would be good for South Carolina? How much less education would be good for our children? How many fewer college degrees will make us more competitive in this new emerging economy? How much less public safety would be good for Columbia, or Charleston, or cities and towns throughout South Carolina? How many fewer hungry American kids here in South Carolina do we no longer need to feed? If we want better results, we need to make better choices, because this ideology of an America of less just isn't working. And it's not what your grandparents and my grandparents and our parents worked so hard to give to us. Now, fortunately, there is a new generation of Democratic governors who, all across our country, who actually believe in doing the things that work. The things that work to create jobs and to expand opportunity. In Maryland, we set goals publicly. We measure government performance on a weekly basis. Collaboration, common platforms, openness, transparency, using the internet to engage our citizens. We identify the things that are working, and guess what? We do more of those things. We identify waste and inefficiency, and we eliminate it. We've reformed our pension system. We've cut spending big time. But we've also been able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You know? Not only have we made cuts, we've made record investments in education. And with no state's done a better job to hold down college tuition costs, to spur innovation and job creation in emerging new sectors, life science, biotech, cyber, clean tech, green tech, and to rebuild our infrastructure, our roads, new schools, our clean water infrastructure, and also our cyber infrastructure, broadband, thanks to President Obama's help. And guess what? It appears to be working. The ultimate test. This balanced approach is delivering results. The fastest rate of job growth in our Delmarva region. The highest median income in the nation. The #1 ranked public schools 5 years in a row. And according to the United States Chamber of Commerce, hardly a mouthpiece for the Maryland Democratic Party, the #1 state for entrepreneurship and innovation. We do the things that work to make progress. And Maryland is by no means the only state in America that's making better choices. Across our country, Democratic governors are choosing to do the things that work in order to achieve better results for the people we serve. Consider this story of my friend and colleague, Arkansas Governor Mike Beebe. In 2008, in Arkansas, in 2008, his state ranked 44th in public education. But he didn't choose to make excuses. He didn't pick fights. He didn't declare that teachers are the enemies. And he didn't just cross his fingers and hope education would somehow miraculously fix itself. He made record investments in public schools, even as he cut state spending. He brought together 1,500 leaders from every county in his state, educators and employers alike, with the common goal of better coordinating the connection between educating his people and growing his economy. He hired 43 full-time college and career coaches, and he placed them in his state's most economically challenged counties to help high schools send their guidance counselors and graduate more kids. He put modern technology into the public school classrooms, and he even gave state employees 8 hours of paid leave to volunteer in their children's schools and attend their parent-teacher conferences. You get the point. Doing the things that work. Today, his schools are no longer ranked 44th in public education. They now have climbed to the 5th best public schools in America. That's leadership that works. That's making better choices in order to get better results. Final thoughts. Government alone is certainly not the solution to all of the challenges we face. But to the cynical who say that government is never a part of the answer, we might ask, what then is your question? Because if your question is how to create jobs, how to get our economy recovering faster, how to reimagine what it means to be an American in these challenging times, how to create greater freedom and opportunity and jobs for all, including the next generation, then a working and effective government is an indispensable and essential part of the answer. See, I'm old-fashioned. I think that our government should actually work for the taxes that we pay. And you and I, South Carolina and Maryland, we stand today at the threshold of a new era of American progress. And the question is whether we have the courage and the conviction to walk through that door, to make better choices in order to achieve better results, to do the things that work to create jobs and expand opportunity, to reward hard work, to escape the self-destructive ideology of less and a culture of no consequences, to punish criminals and to protect families, and to draw the lines between the actions that actually strengthen the next generation and the actions that harm the next generation. For there is a powerful truth at the heart of the American dream, and it is this: the stronger we make our country, the more she gives back to us, to our children, and to our grandchildren. If we want to give our children a future of more rather than a future of less, then America needs South Carolina to make progress again. Every state's important, and no state more important than South Carolina. South Carolina's needed. If we want more jobs and more opportunity, then America needs South Carolina to make progress again. If we want everyone who works hard to make it in America, then America needs South Carolina to make progress again. Because the United States of America is the greatest job-creating, opportunity-expanding country ever created by free people in the history of civilization, and she still is. But America needs South Carolina to move forward.